It's day 9 for the 11 Days of Remembrance. Daniel Esplin here once again at the Royal Canadian Legion in Estevan, joined by the curator of the Southeast Military Museum, Craig Bird. This is an impressive thing you have here for us, probably something that not too many people have seen in front of them before.
Yeah, so I have a couple of different types of 18-pounder artillery shells that would have been typically used in the First World War. So these shells, I have, again, the two different types. The black shell is our shrapnel shell. So I have a picture of what they would look like on the inside, a cutout. So they have little marble-sized lead balls in them, 374 to be exact. The shell weighs approximately 18 pounds, and when fired, they could be set with the timed fuse on the top of the shell to burst at certain heights over the ground, and it would act like a big shotgun shell. So they could cover an area up to about 300 meters with these little balls that would rain down, and whoever was caught out in the open wouldn't have a good day, that's for sure. And then they also had a high explosive shell. So the yellow one there denotes high explosive, and the color tells you what kind of shell it is. And when those fired, you could set them to either burst in the air, to burst as soon as they hit the ground, or have what they called the delay fuse, where they would bury themselves and then explode. So they could be used for a multitude of different functions. But when they exploded, the casing would tear apart into red hot fragments. Again, if you were anywhere in the area when these things exploded, that wouldn't be a good deal either. So they were common. They were used a lot for destroying obstacles like barbed wire, for destroying any troops that were out in the open, any equipment that was out in the open. And then the high explosive shells would have generally been used for destroying bunkers and, trench line formations, as well as any, tanks that would have been driving around, the early war ones, as well as, anti-artillery fire that would have, been fired at them. They can take out the artillery before then and use those. So millions upon millions of these shells were fired over the course of the war. And they figure that about, low estimate would have been about 10% would have been duds. So, they're still digging up World War I shells that are still alive today that didn't explode. So it's still a current problem, over 100 years later. And they have, in France, Belgium, and other countries, they have explosive ordnance teams that's all they do is pick up unexploded ordnance, mainly from the First World War, and destroy it because it's still out there.
Do you know if either of these two examples were duds then?
The one kind of was. The markings along the band here show that it's been fired, so it would have been recovered. Generally, the shrapnel shells, for the most part, survive because it's kind of like a shotgun shell, so they don't explode like a conventional high explosive round would. This one hasn't been fired, so it just wasn't loaded with explosive. So you don't generally find these ones intact because they usually explode, and then if they do find them as a dud, the explosive is way too unstable to be able to de-arm them, so they're usually just exploded in a safe location. I have some recovered shrapnel balls as well as shrapnel from Beaumont Hamel, where the Newfoundlanders attacked on the 1st of July in 1916. And I was walking around in the area, just appreciating the area and what the Newfoundlanders had done during that time period. And while we were walking in some of the fields that are adjacent to it, just dug up some shrapnel balls. So it's actual World War I battlefield debris that is 100% inert and safe, but stuff that would have been fired at the German positions and was recovered.
They're all about the size of a marble. The one thing I wanted to ask with it is, was there a specific reason why they use lead balls?
Lead is just easier to come by. It was a nice material to be able to pack, and then it would deform and keep its weight. That was the biggest thing. So when it was fired out, the shrapnel, being that it was soft, could hit harder metal objects and then either break apart or deform and still do its job.